Alright, quick update on Tron. So, since my last video, we have had a slight bounce. Somewhat of a disappointing bounce though, and you might be wondering, how is a 43% drop a disappointing bounce? Well, 2 weeks ago, we were putting in a 49% drop, and now we're only having a 42% bounce. So, the number percentage terms doesn't necessarily matter too much, because for example, if you lose 50% of your portfolio, a 50% gain isn't going to bring that back. You would need a 2x gain, and subsequently, when I say a 49% drop and a 42% pump, it's a lot more bearish than it sounds. And as you can see, time frame, looking at the fibs from our most recent swing low to the swing high, we've massively capitulated. We've almost taken out the floor on this, and the only reason why I almost somewhat humor this Fibonacci still being valid, it's because we only put a daily close beneath here and we were out of it straight away. But, the most valid way to look at this Fibonacci right now would be to draw from the most recent high down to the low. And you can see we're not even managing to get rejected from the 0.5. So this orange range, which constitutes the 786, the 618, and the 0.5, this orange box is the most important range to get above, and we're not coming anywhere near it. What you can see instead though is we've had a massive breakdown, we've formed a massive pole, and at this moment in time this looks very it's debatable whether this would be a bull flag or a bear flag or a bearish pennant, because for example, if you're drawing from the candle bodies, this is definitely a bearish pennant. However, if you wanted to play it safe and consider the breakdown target to be the wicks, which I definitely would as well, which once again is why I'm saying this is debatable as to whether it's a bear flag or a bearish pennant. Nonetheless, it is a bearish flag or a bearish pennant either way, and the price target would remain the same no matter how you do it. So drawing this out, this would be calling for this massive drop that I've been predicting all the way down to these regions round about here, which correlates to a bunch of support slash resistances in terms of this box that we've got over here. So if I draw this massive range of data points, this is about halfway through the range, and this would also be, once again, the breakdown target of this massive bear flag. So there's a lot going on in the charts for Tron right now. I do feel like the momentum is probably going to start subsiding. You can see daily squeeze one is starting to head up, but it's only heading up because we are forming a channel which is also the flag of this massive bear flag. So let's look at the 4-hourly time frame. We are currently hugging the bottom of the bear flag while the squeeze bomb is heading to the downside. You can also see with these runs up to the upside we've been having, it's coming up, making a lower high, and I really think we're getting ready for that next macro move back down to the downside, because bulls are just not here. They're not here to step up and take over the trend. And also there's a couple of other bearish things that could be playing out for Tron, which don't necessarily correlate to the TRX chart. For example, if we look at USDD, we most recently saw this with Waves USDN. We also saw it with USDT, which temporarily dipped below it. It wasn't too much of a dip, so I don't want to mention Tether too much when I am talking about this, but there have been other stablecoins losing their status as well, like the Luna USDC, and this is just capitulating as well, or Luna UST rather. It's not USDC. That would be Coinbase's stablecoin, which as far as I'm aware is still holding its peg. Nonetheless, USDD being below $1 is a very worrying signal. What's another reason of this being a worrying signal? Well, this is an algorithmic stablecoin. This is somewhat of a new phenomenon, and they've already basically been proved that they really don't work too well. For example, Luna's stablecoin was another algorithmic stablecoin. There aren't too many algorithmic stablecoins out there that have worked. The matter of the fact is, if you look at a bucket of most of the algorithmic stablecoins, about 50% or more of them have basically lost their peg and eventually gone to zero. So this coming all the way down to 93 is not a good sign. This taking its time to come up is a very worrying sign, and we've more or less just been crabbing, doing absolutely nothing for the last week or so, and we've been remaining at round about the regions between 96 to 98 cents. So you definitely want to see this go back to the $1 peg. As you can see, 13 days without a peg according to this user. And yeah, macro time frame has definitely not changed as well. We're switching out things over to the Heiken-Ashi candles on the weekly time frame, looking at our momentum indicators as well. Squeeze bomb on the weekly is heading down. It looks like the MACD on the weekly is about to have a bearish cross as well. So I imagine in the next week, we're once again going to see continuation to the downside. You've got your all-time high, lower high, lower high, lower high. Sometimes you can see we have a big breakdown and we have like a high, and then we break back down, and then we come up for another high in the lowest time frames. But once again, you know, we did this here where you've got this low breakdown and then made a higher high, but nonetheless you zoom out and it's very, very clear. I don't think this would... Oh no, this actually does fit very, very well. You'd have to draw it as a line of best fit between the two all-time high regions, or to be fair, if you just draw it from here, this lines up pretty nicely with what we're seeing right now. So we're very clearly getting battered. I do think the direction of the trend is still to the downside. You can see tons of bearish volume stepping in. This is basically a middle finger to the bulls right now. And yeah, I think that's basically it. I think we basically covered it. Higher time frames, we're making lower highs. Daily time frame, we're in a nasty bear flag, and we're not even coming up to you know, our most important Fibonacci's. Like, we're not even coming up to the 0.5, which is a worrying signal. And then much lower time frames, we are basically switching over to that bearish stance already, which is worrying considering we are sitting at the bottom of this bear flag. So once again, I think the direction of the trend is going to be in this direction. From my last video, we have slightly moved up, really not too much. So as you can see, at this moment in time, I would be predicting another 45% drop, and I think that's too conservative. I think a 50% drop is much more likely to be in play. What is the market cap of Tron? So the market cap of Tron, this is still sitting in the top 14 with a market cap of almost 6 billion, which in my opinion is very, very overvalued for what it is. I don't think Tron should be anywhere above 1 billion. I mean, that's just my opinion. I mean, you can read the white paper and formulate your own opinion, look what they're trying to solve. But nonetheless, 6 billion does seem overvalued to me, and it's almost kind of a stupid metric to look at the perceived value of a network, because most of the time cryptocurrencies are going to be overvalued. That's just how it is in the cryptocurrency space. Everyone's hyped up, everyone wants to make money on low market cap, so they don't look at the fundamentals, don't look at what it is. And, you know, fundamentally, you know, Tron losing its USDD stablecoin peg is not a good sign. Its algorithmic stablecoin is basically looking the same as Luna's. Am I saying that Tron is the next Luna? I'm not saying that. I'm simply saying their stablecoin could be the next USD, the next UST, which was Luna's USD. I need to check this out because I keep on. There's too many stablecoins. What was Luna's stablecoin? I think it was USDT, or it was US Terra. Yeah, it was UST because it's now been removed from CoinMarketCap. I cover so many cryptos, so if you look at the right side of my screen, you can see I keep up with a lot of stuff. So I did just mess up those stable coins for a second. But yep, I do think this is probably going to come down. Tron, another 50% to the downside, 3.2 cent. This does seem in play. Looking at Bitcoin as well, the market structure's unchanged. Lower high, lower high, lower high. And what do I expect next? Probably another breakdown. This is probably going to be another lower high, probably going to break down, another lower high, retesting this resistance, and then I think we're going to come down to 16,500 before we find the bottom. What is that going to mean for Tron? Well, let's see. How is Tron performing against Bitcoin? It's not performing well. So look at the all-time high. This is really not performing too well against Bitcoin. So I would definitely think one last final leg to the downside is in play for Tron. That being said, that is all I've got for you for this video. We will keep our eyes on this price target. If we do start dropping dramatically, then we will make an update for you. But at this moment in time, 3.2 cent is where I am personally targeting for Tron to come within the next month. So all I've got for you today. As always, Cowboy out. Peace.